Coming up on the second hour of American Sunrise, President Trump rolls out sanctions against Russia's two largest oil companies, turning up the pressure on Putin to end the war in Ukraine. This after a meeting between the two leaders was called off. We're going to take a deeper look at the president's strategy. Plus, no end in sight for the ongoing Schumer shutdown. Yesterday, it became the second longest in American history. 12 votes now taken. Democrats say no, 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 no. We're going to talk about how much longer it could last and if it could soon take first place. And later, the Trump administration set to shatter its deportation record by the end of the year. Over 480,000 illegal aliens have been deported since the president began his second term in January. Can you take Jasmine Crockett, too, as an added bonus? Anyhow, we'll look at the impact as the second hour of American Sunrise starts right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from the corrupt deep state. That would be D.C. Let's bring in Terrence Bates in our Denver newsroom, Emily Finn in for Dr. G down in West Palm. Good morning to both of you. I noticed on the president's schedule, which came out, yes, Terrence, you have an objection already? Please, go ahead.
I do. Would you allow me to fact check you just really quickly in real life?
Sure.
You said that Democrats have voted 12 times against reopening the government, so it technically would be a no, 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 no. I just wanted to clarify that, David.
No, thank you.
No.
When I started saying no, 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 that was an ad lib that would not be on prompter. And when I started doing no, 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 I said, what am I doing? Can I please stop? And then, so that's why I stopped. That is a true story. What was I even talking about? Oh, yeah, that's right. Wait, I know. The president has some sort of statement he's making at the White House today at 3 p.m. So that just kind of came out, and Brian Glenn's going to be along in a moment. So T. Bates, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And there's so many things he could talk about because there's so much on his plate. One of the things on his plate, of course, is trying to reopen the government. As the government shutdown rages on, apparently so is government spending. The government's gross national debt has now surpassed $38 trillion, making a new record. A new Treasury Department report confirms the figure and the fact that the U.S. has added $1 trillion in debt since August. That's said to be the very fastest accumulation of debt outside of the pandemic era. Economists say the conventional wisdom when it comes to growing debt is that it eventually leads to higher inflation. By the way, the Government Accountability Office says that rising government debt can result in higher borrowing costs for mortgages and cars, as well as lower wages for workers and businesses having less money to invest. The Trump administration continuing its deadly attacks on alleged drug boats. CBS is reporting the latest strike happened earlier this week on the Pacific side of South America. When asked about the continued attacks while in the Oval Office with President Trump, Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying that if people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, then stop sending drug boats to the United States.
There are people traveling on international waters headed towards the United States with hostilities in mind, which includes flooding our country with dangerous, deadly drugs. And they're going to be stopped. And that's what's happening. And in the case last week, you saw there was a submarine. It was a submarine. It was a submersible. That's a drug boat all the way through. We know what these boats are. The president just said it. We tracked them from the very beginning. We know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. If you're running drug boats, you're in grave danger.
On Wednesday, President Trump reiterated that his administration has the legal authority to carry out these strikes. However, he did signal the possibility of hitting suspected drug targets on land as these smugglers begin to move their operations from international waters due to the strikes. The commander-in-chief says if he decides to move in that direction, he'll seek congressional approval or at very least notify Congress. President Trump scheduled to travel to Asia tomorrow. Trade will top his agenda, specifically the ongoing trade war with China. While 47 says he believes a deal can be reached with Chinese President Xi, he also sees other opportunities for his meeting with the Chinese leader.
What I'll really be talking to him about is how do we end the war with Russia and Ukraine, whether it's through oil or energy or anything else. And I think he's going to be very receptive. He would now like to, I'm not sure that he did at the beginning, he would now like to see that war end.
Talks about ending the Russia-Ukraine war come as the president has just slapped Russia with new sanctions targeting the country's oil industry. Oil, by the way, is the economic engine that largely funds Russia's continued war with Ukraine. President Trump is hoping the latest sanctions will force Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table. We'll get more on that from Brian Gwynn at the White House here in just a moment. But first, let's get a quick check of our forecast with meteorologist Tracy Anthony. She is in our West Palm studios. It is now time for our Real America's Voice local forecast. Your forecast just for folks on Getter and Rumble and YouTube who've kind of logged in and asked for a local forecast. So what do you have and where's our forecast coming from, Tracy?
You know, we've got a couple today. You know, Terrence, this is fun. I've never done these local forecasts, you know, just 1 hour after another. This is great. I love this. So Dallas, Texas, you're going to be dealing with some scattered showers and storms as we get into Friday and Saturday. So several rounds of moisture, flooding going to be a concern for you this weekend. So be mindful of that. That's from Tina from Texas on Rumble. Also, I don't know how to pronounce this name, but Booz, Arizona, they're going to be a mix of sun and clouds. So a nice forecast. This one coming in from T. Carberry at Getter. And then Warwick, Rhode Island. So this is a perfect fall weekend. These are the spots in the country where you're going to see the best fall foliage. So this is going to be a good area. The Northeast, New England, you've got maybe one last weekend of those leaves before things start to change. So this one coming in from Diane on YouTube. Now there's just a couple quick headlines I want to touch on. Melissa, going to be churning in the Caribbean Sea, expected to get to a major hurricane by Monday, Tuesday, could potentially even be a Category 4. We're also talking about several days of Great Lakes rain with some cooler air working through and a busy weekend across the Northwest with another atmospheric river setting up that's just going to inundate them with rain, Terrence. So lots going on from coast to coast, and I am so sorry if I butchered some of those cities or some of those handles. But this is fun. I love it. I hope people start interacting with us more on this.
Absolutely. By the way, shout out to Tina and Diane. I was chit-chatting with them earlier in our YouTube chat. So we're sending shout outs as well. By the way, folks, there at the bottom of your screen, you see the QR code. Go ahead, log on now, click that, and join our Weather Nation team. Tracy, always good to see you. I will talk with you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's get things over to David. David, good morning.
Good morning, T. Bates. Okay, as you were just talking about, the Trump administration announced those sanctions yesterday on Russia's two largest oil companies. Those sanctions come as part of the president's efforts to bring Russia's war in Ukraine to a close. So here is what the president said, some more sound right now. Take a look.
Today is a very big day in terms of what we're doing. Look, these are tremendous sanctions. These are very big. Those are against their two big oil companies, and we hope that they won't be on for long. We hope that the war will be settled. We just answered having to do with the various forms of missiles and everything else that we're looking at, but we don't think that's going to be necessary. We would like to see them just take the line that has been formed over quite a long period of time and go and let's, go home. Last week they had almost 8,000 soldiers killed. Many Russians were killed last week. Many Ukrainians were killed last week. We think it's ridiculous and would like to have it end.
The best sanctions ever. Joining us now to explain more is RAV Chief White House Correspondent Brian Glenn, joining us from the North Lawn of the White House. Brian, curious more about the president's strategy here, and I understand he also has a 3 p.m. some sort of, I don't know, is it a statement? I don't know if it's a press conference, but something's going on. Something's going down there at the White House. Good morning to you.
There it is. Well, something is going down at the White House behind me. There's a little bit more construction. And Jonah was actually bringing it up to me. A lot of dust going up, a lot of construction work. But yes, he has a 3 o'clock, what's been described as kind of a round table, Kristi Noem, Homeland Security, kind of recapping the successes so far this year in terms of working on stopping the cartels, drug flow, sex trafficking. That all goes down at 3 o'clock in the state dining room. It would have gone on in the East room, but that's being knocked down, David. But that happens at 3 o'clock, so we'll have live coverage on the ground for that. But it's just kind of a recap of what they've been able to, all the successes so far under this Trump administration.
Brian, I am curious if there's any reaction from the White House yet about this latest report that the national debt has now surpassed $38 trillion, setting a brand new record. Supposedly, $1 trillion alone has been spent just since August. That's got to be a concern, I would think, particularly for the fiscal conservatives walking around the halls of the White House.
Well, it is. And I have not heard anything out of the White House in regards to that. Now, I know that Thomas Massie walks around with a debt clock. If you've seen Thomas Massie in person, you've seen him around the halls of Congress. He wears a debt clock on his jacket with a continuous loop of what it is as of right now. I think it's a very interesting point, and he's been screaming about this. Yeah, absolutely. You can even buy them. He's actually, I think you go to his website, I think there's a link somewhere where you can buy these clocks if you want to keep up with it. But yeah, it is surpassing the $38 trillion. And, you know, when you talk about the amounts of tariffs that President Trump is able to bring in, and they're talking about applying that to the debt, well, when you look at maybe $30 billion, $60 billion in tariff revenue, that is a drop in the bucket when you look at the $37 trillion and just how much extra spending that we are. So, you know, those fiscal conservative, hawks that have been screaming about cutting spending, as we keep approaching, this debt goes higher and higher. I even saw one report, David, that I think it was 50 million by 2030, if that's not right. I'll check my numbers on that. It's just out of control.
You know, Brian, I want to ask you about this too. President Trump is having some renovations done at the White House. It's the latest in the long history of presidents making alterations to the historic building. Many on the left claim it's unprecedented. Earlier this week, even Hillary Clinton posted on X saying it's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it. That was such an infuriating post to see, Brian. How do you think the White House looks? I don't think it looks destroyed, do you?
Not at all, and historically they have made improvements to the White House. Matter of fact, yesterday in the Oval Office, a reporter that kind of got tangled up with President Trump at one point, talking about his, it was 200 million, now it's 300 million, and kind of in the semantics of what he was doing. Actually, let me step aside real quick. Jonah, can you push in on some of the construction action going on behind us? You can see some of the dust and the dirt kind of pluming up, and you've got photographers outside our tent that are getting a good look at that as well. But, this is not something that's out of the ordinary. Obviously, President Trump putting in his private, personal money, plus money of other people as well. There's a list on the website. You've got donors like you got Target, you got T-Mobile, you got big corporations, you got Kelly Loeffler and her family's involved with this one. There's a whole list of private money doing this. So this is no government spending at all for this new ballroom, and traditionally they have had renovations around the White House throughout the years. This is what they do. Barack Obama, in terms of a basketball court, a bowling alley was added at one point. So all of this is not out of the ordinary, but when President Trump does it, obviously it is the end of the world. But he is definitely making improvements here at the White House.
I love how he said the other day, is like, I love the sound of construction, is what he said. I love the sound of construction. Yeah. He cracks me up. All right, Brian Glenn, thanks for being there. Appreciate it. If it was Joe Biden, the construction would only happen between 10 and 4. So it could happen anytime now, all day long.
Yeah, can't wake him up.
No, for sure. All right, Brian, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Coming up, what do you do when your own property that you paid for, by the way, with your hard-earned dollars, is stolen right from under you? So that's what happened to a pastor in West Dallas, and he's not alone. It's happening all across America and in most neighborhoods, including yours. In 2 minutes, we're going to show you how not to be a victim when American Sunrise continues on a Thursday in October.